What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you our week number 4 team builder? Yeah, week 4. Our week 4 team builder against John and the Port Elizabeth Politoeds. They are a longtime rival of ours in this league. We played them 3 times last season because they were in our division. So we had to play them twice. We beat them both times, and then we actually met him in the playoffs. He had a high enough record near the end of the season because we were 3 of his only losses. He didn't lose too many other times outside of us, which is really, really impressive. And he's actually been doing fairly decent so far this season as well. But we beat him the first 2 times, and then we were actually able to beat him in playoffs. So we have a 3-0 record against him. That doesn't mean anything because his team now is actually really scary and really, really hard to beat. His team consists of Zygarde 50%, which is one of his Z users, Slowbro, it's our Manitan, Donphan, Electros, Scrafty, Kecleon, Ninjask, which is his other Z user, Meganium, and Mega Beedrill. So right off the bat, first off, you see 2 clear, massive offensive threats in the form of Zygarde and Mega Beedrill. Those things are so hard to switch into, especially Zygarde now with things like Thousand Arrows and such. In its arsenal, it has become a monster beyond belief. So that's not cool. Very, very big pain in the ass. Also, he has things like Slowbro, which just switch into everything. It's so fucking fat. Oh, it's so fat. Oh, Slowbro is stupidly fat. Donphan is stupidly fat. Electros with an Assault Vest is stupidly fat. He's got some very fat mons that go really, really well with his offensive mons. So, yikes to that. All the yikes to this team. This is going to be really, really hard. Because, if I have a switch into one thing, I can't switch into another. So, that's really unfortunate. And, yeah, this is going to be rough. But I think we can pull this off. And we're going to start pulling it off by having our Ron Weasley the Weavile, our monstrous monster of a Pokemon, lead off the team, being Adamant Choice Banded. Now, the reason we're Adamant Banded is that if you look at their team, the only mons they have that are faster than us are Ninjask and Mega Beedrill, which, unless I'm Scarfed, I cannot outspeed in any universe. At all. And I lose out on so much damage output by not being banded. By being scarfed, I could not afford that. Because being banded allows me to blow through Zygarde, blow through the Ninjask and stuff with Ice Shard very easily. Allows me to pretty much pick up 2 hit KOs on mons that I couldn't before. With Knockoff and Icicle Crash, and just do so much damage. And even with Brick Break, if he wants to go into Scrafty on switch-ins, because I feel like Scrafty would be a very clear switch into this mon, because really he doesn't have any others. I can go for Banded Brick Break, and even if he gets an Intimidate off on me, it's still going to do a stupid amount of damage to that Scrafty. And it allows me to scout out his set as well. So it provides me a solid option for me to use on that. Yeah, just good mon. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, so we'll see. The next mon is actually a new mon we added to our team. I'm apologizing for this now. I'm not going to be creating a separate video on it because it's literally just one thing. I did make a free agency transaction this past week. I had it available last week, but I didn't end up using it because I wouldn't have brought the other mon anyway. And this week it just works too well. And so I dropped Sandslash, okay? Sandslash just, like, it was a good mon, but it just wasn't really great for my team. You know, I didn't really need Sandslash that much. I have hazard removal options on my team in Defog on Rotom Wash and Florges. And I just didn't feel like it added much to the squad that I didn't already have. So I did get another Rapid Spinner. I also get another Defogger. Only thing I don't like is that it's also an Ice type, but it does very different things and it hits on a completely different side of the spectrum from Weavile, so it's totally fine in my eyes. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to Symmetrical the Cryogonal. We are bringing a Choice Scarf Cryogonal this week with Defog, Freeze Dry, Hidden Power Ground, and Night? No, that's not supposed to be Night Slash. What did I have in that move slot? I think it was just supposed to be Knockoff. Yeah, it's probably 99% sure it was just supposed to be Knockoff. Okay, so my thought process with this is, first of all, I have Defog. So if the Don fan wants to try to set up hazards, if the Kecleon wants to try to set up hazards, I can come in at some point and defog them away. I do have Wish Pass on this team. I'll get more to that later. But I can Wish Pass into the Cryogonal later if I need to get back the damage from the rocks that it will take. And we can easily just defog away those hazards. Did I put defog on either of these two like a fool? I didn't. Good. We have Freeze Dry. Freeze Dry I brought specifically because if I didn't have Freeze Dry, he could easily swap into Slowbro every time on this mon. So I brought the Freeze Dry so that that's not possible. He will go into the Slowbro trying to think he will eat a hit, and then get potentially 2 KO'd by Freeze Dry, and then cry deeply into his pillows. So that's a thing. Then we also have the Hidden Power Ground. Hidden Power Ground is for the potential switch-ins of Darmanitan. If Darmanitan wants to switch in, also because we will outspeed the Darmanitan, since we are Scarfed and faster than him, we are just outspeeding the base 95s, which are his second fastest mons, the Zygarde and the Darmanitan. And HP Ground will actually do a lot to Darm. If it's taken some recoil damage / coming on rocks before, actually, do I even have rocks on this team? I don't. Never mind. Ignore the fact that I mentioned rocks. But if it's taken any form of chip damage before, it will not appreciate this HP Ground at all. And we can definitely benefit from having that thing take an HP Ground for us. That'd be really, really fucking cool. So we have that. We have the Knockoff, because honestly, early game, I feel like I'm not going to want to just click Freeze Dry for free. I'm going to want to get rid of items and things. So Knockoff is probably going to be my go-to against his team, because anything he wants to bring in, I want it to not have an item. And if I have to quickly specs myself into Knockoff and then switch out, that is fine. I will be getting rid of their item, and it will be glorious. So that is the plan there. Here's hoping that we can pull it off, and it's actually very effective. So yes, that'd be great. Cryogonal is cool. The next mon we are bringing this week is Swoop King, our Dust Wire, holding the Rocky Helmet, fully physically defensive. The reason this thing's fully physically defensive with the Rocky Helmet is because of Mega B. Because with its ghost typing, it's actually able to eat hits from both the U-turns and the poison jabs very, very well. It takes minimal damage, like 20 to 30%, which in the broad scheme of things is minimal damage. When I can Wish Pass back into it and stuff for later on in the game. Very minimal damage. It is going to... I'm actually going to switch its ability to Frisk over Pressure, so I can find items and stuff and Scout. Yeah, the Rocky Helmet with the physically defensive investment is going to help us against the Beedrill very effectively. So that's really good. We can really chip away at that Beedrill using that. We have Will-O-Wisp to try to burn things. It doesn't really matter what he brings in on this because everything on his team gets burned except for Darm. And frankly, like, you don't just hard switch Darm into anything. So he won't be doing that at all. And if he does, by all means, go right for a fucking Flare Blitz on this thing. Take Flare Blitz recoil plus my Rocky Helmet and everything and just feel dumb. We have Shadow Sneak for priority, obviously, because we are this, like, really, really stupid slow. And I don't actually think that there's anything on his team that's slower than us. Correction, there is nothing on his team that is slower than us, besides Slowbro. So we can hit priority on a lot of things. If we knock down Donphan to its sturdy, priority Shadow Sneak can beat it. We can just chip through things that are weakened below the point where we need them weakened. This is also a good way to hit the Ninjask if it wants to try to go for substitutes or some shit. And wants to try to baton pass out, we will always have a priority move to try to break its substitutes because it's super frail, so its subs don't exactly appreciate any hits from anything. And Dust and Wire hits decently hard, even though it doesn't have much attack investment this week. So it should be able to break those subs very, very cleanly without too much issue. And that'd be really great. We have Ice Punch just in case Zygarde gets kind of a little out of control. We can actually put this thing in front of at least a +1 Zygarde. And just fire off the Ice Punch and do damage. Or we can just Haze first, that works too. Probably going to Haze first, to be fair. Because it allows the rest of my team to be better equipped to deal with it. So that's really, really cool. Haze is honestly just there to keep some of his setup mons in check. That's literally it. I just want to keep them in check. I don't want anything doing too much damage. So that's really, really important to me. We can definitely do a lot of work with that. Yeah, so that's our Dust and Wire. We have Urate the Rotom Wash here. We have a lot of sets specifically built and designed to stop Zygarde from sweeping us, which is super cool. So we have Shuka Berry Rotom Wash. Now, obviously, Rotom Wash has Levitate, but Thousand Arrows ignores that. Thousand Arrows will hit this Rotom Wash as hard as it can, super effectively right off the bat. And if he's at +1, that's going to hurt a lot. So we are fully physically defensive with the Shuka Berry to eat 1,000 arrows from Zygarde, even at +1, and then we can actually successfully burn it, and then potentially just pain split our way back up. Because once we burn it, we can just whittle away at it without any real worries or issues. So I'm really, really happy with that idea. This gives us a very, very decent option of how to handle the Zygarde. Now, if it's a sub-DD variant, then we basically lose. Because there ain't shit we can do about that. Plain and simple, but we'll see how that goes. Basically, this thing, outside of that, this thing's just a standard physically defensive Rotom set. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, or Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Will-O-Wisp, and Pain Split. Willow to get burns, Volt Switch for momentum. Because, you know, he has 2 ground types, but I'm not too worried about it. Because we have Hydro Pump. So, like, they're going to be hesitant to switch ground types into us because of the Hydro Pump potential. So, and then Pain Split just to get some recovery. Next we have Vermilion, our Florges with the Babiri Berry. We're not even running leftovers this week. We don't need them. We have Babiri Berry Florges. Now this is also another potential check to the Zygarde because 1,000 arrows, even at +1, cannot OHKO Florges. So, if he's going to take a Z move on there, he's either going to be Ground EMZ, which, if he is, GG, well played. If he is, he can't be Dragonium Z, because Dragonium Z will not break through Florges. Or he could be Steelium Z with Iron Tail. And if he is that set, we will be able to live it, barely, but we will be able to live it even at +1 since it's not stab and everything. And we can hit him back hard with a Moonblast. So, again, this is a very, very specific prep for the Zygarde. So obviously it's super specialized, but I think it'll work really, really well in the long run. Obviously still scared of the Beedrill. Beedrill actually gets a free switch into this set because all our only attacking move is Moonblast. Because we do need the Wish, we do need Wish Protect to keep ourselves healthy, while we also need Wish to keep some of our other bulky mons healthy throughout the game. And we need the Toxic, because Toxic is going to be very important. He actually doesn't have, Beedrill, but he doesn't have it. Outside of that, he doesn't have an immunity to Toxic. So again, anything that he wants to switch into me, that's fine. You can catch a Toxic real quick. So that's the plan with our Florges, just fully physically defensive as well. You can see, like, we had to go hard on our physically defensive walls this week to take on the Zygarde and the Beedrill. It's really, really scary. But lastly, we are going to have our Natsu, the Mega Charizard X, Sub Dragon Dance, Roost, Dragon Claw. Now look at his team. Do you see a fairy? I don't see a fairy. So what do I lose by being Sub Dragon Dance? What do I lose by putting myself in front of a, say, maybe potentially Scarf Darmanitan, or potentially putting myself out in front of an Electros, who might just want to click Volt Switch or something, or putting myself in front of the Ninjask or the Meganium, or even the Slowbro, perhaps. I don't know how much a Slowbro Skull does to us, but regardless, we can find something. If we can get a sub up, and just start Sub Dragon Dancing, and then we can just roost off any damage we get eventually, we can set up decently. The only move we need to click is Dragon Claw, because it's going to kill everything on their team. It doesn't really matter. This thing just can tear through his squad with just Sub DD Roost Dragon Claw. We have enough speed. Outspeed is 95s, so all we have to do is get up a Dragon Dance, and we can handle things, or get up Dragon Dance, maybe 2, and we can handle things like Ninjask and Meganium, or Ninjask and Mega B very, very easily. So really, really happy to have this on the squad. Is really, really threatening, really, really strong, and I'm really, really happy we have Zard on the team. This thing can just set up and sweep him, and I'm really hoping I can get this set to work this week. I really racked my brain because I knew I wanted to bring Zard to this matchup, but I couldn't think of the best way to do so, and this just seems like it. So that is going to be it for our team builder this week. If you guys have enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you have not already. The battle will be up tomorrow. So until then, guys, I am PokePrimer, and I am signing off. Peace.